As lifelong proponents of Star Wars, we enjoy highlighting and studying the good stories in that universe. Today, we return to Syril and his mother, but this time we're in Season 2, and they have a third person to contend with, Dedra. Now, Cyril's romantic partner, she brings a whole new dynamic to the mother-son duo that chilled our hearts in Season 1.
He's been promoted twice. Wonderful. More calf?
Please. Dedra.
We made a video on each of the conversations between Syril and Eedy, his mother, and in their last conversation, Syril had gotten the best of her. So how do they manage to once again give her power over him in this scene? By introducing Dedra into the dynamic. The writers give Eedy a new way of holding power over Syril. She can embarrass him. As soon as she enters their apartment, Eedy is in control. You can feel the anxiety in Syril as he introduces his nightmare of a mother to Dedra.
Mother, this is Dedra.
Eedy, please.
Such a pleasure to finally meet you.
Finally, indeed.
Dedra's fake smile and outstretched hand are rejected as Eedy cuts off her last word with her own, much louder response, trying to establish herself as the one with power. But Dedra is used to other people trying to hold power over her. After all, her job is entirely people climbing over each other for power.
You look nothing like what I expected.
Here, let me get your coat.
Oh, how refreshing. One longs for courtesy, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely.
Eedy talks about their apartment, and Dedra says the right thing through her fake smile. We see that at the beginning of their interaction, Eedy does get the upper hand. Being able to control the conversation is power when all that you're doing is conversing. Eedy says that Dedra looks nothing like what she thought she'd look like, and Dedra didn't ask the obvious follow-up question to that. That's because Dedra is smart and knows that whatever answer she would get from Eedy would be another way Eedy would try to control the interaction. Eedy calls this out, but Dedra doesn't give in, showing that she's still got fight in her and isn't about to give up so easily. Eedy asks for a beverage that she knew they wouldn't have, and this is another play for power. Knowing that they'll want to please her, she gives them a task that they can't accomplish, and when they offer to go out of their way to do so, she stops them, once again proving her power over them.
There's a shop in the arcade.
No, please. I did not come all this way to see Syril disappear again. Show me your wonderful home.
And only then does she tell Dedra to show her their home. At the table, Eedy talks about Syril and the joys of children, which doesn't exactly come across as love for Syril, but more of a brag about her own accomplishment as a parent. Then she goes into Cyril's adventurous father, and even in this we see the ulterior motive behind the topic. She wants to draw the parallel with Syril and his father. She believes that both of them were wrong in leaving her to go off on their adventures. Again, she gives herself credit for taking care of him, which of course she deserves, but bragging about it and then bringing in the infamous Uncle Harlow, it all makes it seem like Syril has always needed others to care for him.
A young, delicate boy with only a mother's love and determination, if not for the charity of his Uncle Harlow. I can't imagine where we'd be.
Dedra tells Eedy that she's heard the story of Uncle Harlow's seeming rescue of Syril, and Eedy takes this as another opportunity to embarrass him. And of course, the one time Syril tries to help her with her meal, she cuts him off in a scolding way. She points out his embarrassment, which is true. However, she doesn't realize that he's actually embarrassed by her. She thinks he's embarrassed about being called delicate. And of course, he was trying to change the subject, but she doesn't let him. She's always in control of the conversation, no matter what it's about. Even after this, she changes the subject to Dedra's family.
Mother, would you like
I'll
some...
get there.
Yeah, okay.
He's embarrassed.
About what?
Doesn't like being called delicate.
But of course, Dedra isn't what Eedy expected. She didn't have a mother. She doesn't know what it's like to have someone lording over her, constantly pushing her one way or the other. Dedra was raised in an Imperial kinderblock, something entirely new to us as Star Wars fans, but also something that takes Eedy by surprise. Eedy tries to be kind by saying there's nothing delicate about a kinderblock, but Dedra takes the reins for this one. She says that they had everything they needed, provided by the Empire. And of course, Eedy has to bring herself into the topic by saying that they didn't have a mother's love. She believes that her twisted form of love should be felt by the world, but she'll settle for Syril and Dedra.
We had everything we needed.
Except a mother's love.
We didn't know what we were missing.
The next time we see them, they are having dessert, and Eedy is mashing her cake, not something normally done to cake. And we feel that this is another way for her to control what's going on, but also an example of what she's done to Syril. His whole life, she has called him delicate like the cake, but yet she treats him cruelly, crushing his own self-confidence to be the one in control. She then insults Cyril's job on Morlana and suggests that he came back because it was too rough for him. This is the final straw and causes Syril to leave the table, having enough of his mother's insults for the time being. And finally, Dedra has a chance to unleash her plan onto Eedy with Syril away from the conversation.
You'll toughen him up.
I have a different plan in mind. But when I say the word plan, that makes it sound optional, which is not the impression you should be taking away.
It's not a plan to come after Eedy, but actually a plan to keep her at a distance. Dedra tells her that it's a plan that will happen, not merely a suggestion that is up for negotiation. Dedra finally has the opportunity to speak plainly, without the pageantry of dancing around Cyril's emotions. Woman to woman, she speaks to Eedy of ending the game that Eedy has been winning with her son for his whole life.
This game ends now. You want Syril in your life, you will think before you speak. I'll make sure he visits twice a month. I'll make sure that he calls you.
Dedra will make sure that Syril visits and calls, but she limits the amount of time that Eedy will be spending with the two of them. Why? Because Cyril's entire life, he has been anxious about dealing with his own mother. And Dedra wants to put a stop to that. Dedra has seen the amount of stress that Syril goes through every time he's gone to see or called Eedy, and she wants to make that stop. In their own twisted version of love, she sees a need for change, and rather than wait for him to make the change, Dedra is taking things into her own hands.
I will guarantee a level of engagement, but it will be inversely proportional to the volume of anxiety you generate in our lives.
Quite a mouthful.
I'm not done.
Eedy interrupts her plan, and Dedra quiets her with authority, because now the game is skewed in her favor, and she will not relinquish that power. And in a definitely doomed version of love, this is seen as a good thing that Dedra is doing. She's watching out for and helping Syril with the one thing that he just can't seem to get under control, his relationship with his mother. And the final nail in the coffin is the knowledge that the dear Uncle Harlow is known to be a criminal, and Dedra absolutely has the power to make sure that he ends up on a prison world like Narkina 5. And finally, Eedy is speechless. She has met not just her match, but her better. Dedra doesn't come to play the game. She came to win. And that is one of the many scenes that makes Andor the best thing in Star Wars. And as always, may the Force be with you.
You can spare me the Uncle Harlow testimonials. I've had a look at his ISB criminal files, and that is not a story you want to be advertising.